2025. Your Excellency, the African Development Bank has been a steadfast partner in Kenya's journey towards economic growth and sustainable development, supporting several transformative projects across the country. Among these, the Last Mile Connectivity Project has brought light to once sleepy towns and villages and is powering a technological revolution across the country. By extending the national grid across the length and breadth of our republic, the African Development Bank has helped move Kenya closer to realizing universal electricity access and elevated the nation to be the foremost country with the highest electricity connection rate in Africa over the last decade. Other notable initiatives include the Thwake Multipurpose Water Development Program, which stands out as a flagship initiative. This project is a cornerstone in the AfDB's efforts to enhance resilience and improve livelihoods in Kenya. Earlier, we partnered with the African Development Bank on the development of Kenya's first ever dual carriageway, the Thika Superhighway. Other notable projects include the Nairobi Outer Ring Road Improvement Project, the Kenya Electricity Modernization Project, the Menengai Geothermal Development Project, the Lake Turkana Wind Power Project, and in agriculture, the Kenya Agricultural Productivity and Agribusiness Project. Sir, permit me now to invite the Vice CDF to facilitate the state investiture ceremony. Your Excellency, sir, it is now my distinguished honor and high privilege to invite you, sir, to take your place at the conferment arena. Once you take your position, sir, you will confer and bestow national honors on behalf of the people of Kenya to Dr. Akinwumi Ayodeji Adesina, decorating him in recognition of a distinguished and outstanding service to the Republic of Kenya and to the whole of humanity in his role as the President of the African Development Bank. Sir, I now invite the awardee to take his position at the conferment arena.
Good morning. Welcome to Kenya. Congratulations on this achievement.
Dr. Akinwumi Ayodeji Adesina is a distinguished economist and global development leader, currently serving as the President and Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Africa Development Bank. Dr. Akinwumi has transformed the bank into a globally recognized institution for financial innovation and development impact and grown the general capital from $93 billion to $318 billion. Dr. Akinwumi's visionary leadership has led to transformative initiatives such as the High Five Strategy, Light Up Power Africa, Feed Africa, Integrate Africa, Industrialize Africa, and improve the quality of Africans' lives in general, which has positively impacted over 500 million people. He has launched the Africa Investment Forum, mobilizing over $200 billion in investments, interest to accelerate economic development across the continent. A passionate advocate for youth empowerment, Dr. Akinwumi founded the World Hunger Fighters Foundation to support young agripreneurs in Africa. With over 30 years of impactful service, Dr. Akinwumi continues to inspire global action for Africa's transformation, standing as a trailblazer for innovation, economic growth, and social change. Under Dr. Akinwumi's leadership, the Africa Development Bank has significantly contributed to Kenya's development through various projects, including the Last Mile Connectivity Project, Phase 3, that aims to provide electricity to approximately 543 972 Kenyans by constructing 13 substations across 45 counties. Lake Turkana Wind Project, completed in 2019, increasing Kenya's electricity supply by 13%. Including aiding Kenya's post-COVID-19 recovery efforts, and new 5-year country strategy paper, CSP, for Kenya's 2024 to 2028, that focuses on infrastructure development, economic governance, and human capital development. Dr. Akinwumi is also a prolific writer and has authored over 70 scholarly publications. He celebrated his 65th birthday on February 6th, 2025.
Your Excellency, sir, as we culminate the desk ceremony, I invite you, sir, to take your seat on the ceremonial desk to execute the Presidential Award Certificate. The awardee will witness as Your Excellency sets your hand onto the certificate. Sir, permit me now to invite the State House Legal Counsel to convey the instruments. Your Excellency, sir, may I now invite you to graciously retreat to the arena for the rest of the program.
Doctor.
He is graciously awarded the Chief of the Golden Heart. Congratulations.
Your Excellency, sir, permit me now to invite State Awardee, Dr. Akinwumi Ayodeji Adesina, CGH, to make his acceptance remarks.
Your Excellency, my very dear brother, Dr. William Samuel Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, CGH. To clap for the President. His Excellency, Professor Kithure Kindiki, EGH, the Deputy President, Honorable Dorcas Agig O. Oduo, the SCEBS Attorney General, Honorable John Mbadi Ngongo EGH, Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury and Economic Planning, Lieutenant General John Omenda Mugaravai, Vice Chief of Defense Forces, Dr. Chris Kriptu, PhD, CBS Principal Secretary of the National Treasury and Economic Planning, Dr. Koreo Singh Oi, Principal Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Patrick Mariru, CBS Principal Secretary of Defense, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Abariza Asubuhi. Your Excellency, President Ruto, I am most grateful to you, sir, for your conferring on me today the prestigious honor of the Chief of the Order of Golden Heart, CGH, Kenya's highest and most distinguished honor. I'm greatly humbled by your incredible kindness. What a great honor. What a rare privilege. What a historic recognition. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. President. It is such a joy to be back here with my dear wife and your sister, Grace, in Kenya, a nation that I love, and to be in the State House with a president who is my dearest brother and friend. They say home is where your heart will always be. I consider Kenya as my home. After all, I lived and worked here in this beautiful country for about 9 years, starting from my days working with the Rockefeller Foundation and the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA. I have been back here ever since, so I can claim to have been working in and on Kenya for at least 20 years. The friendship between myself and His Excellency President Ruto goes way back over those 20 years. As we say in Kenya, tumetoka mbali, we have come from far. Yes, we have come from far, Mr. President, since you were a much younger Minister of Agriculture under the then government of President Y. Kibaki. Your predecessor, former President Kenyatta, was then the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. I recall the very frequent and engaging discussions between us on how to improve the quality of life of Kenyans. From seminars to workshops and conferences, we engaged intensely. I was not just working in Kenya, I was a Kenyan by mind, heart, and soul as I immersed myself in this beautiful country of Kenya. I remember then that I was later appointed as Minister of Agriculture in Nigeria. Then I came along with His Excellency President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan on a state visit to Kenya. President Kenyatta and yourself, as the then Deputy President, receives us together at the Jomo Kenyatta Airport. As President Jonathan was making the introductions of his ministers, he got to me and he introduced me as the Minister of Agriculture of Nigeria, to which the then President Kenyatta said, "Yes, I know him. He is the Kenyan on loan to the Nigerian government." We all busted out collectively laughing. Of course, he was right, because even then, as I was appointed Minister of Agriculture of Nigeria, I appointed Maria Mulindi, a Kenyan, as my Chief of Staff, even in Nigeria. I worked everywhere in Kenya, and I have great memories. From my praying and preaching at the Nairobi Pentecostal Church, Valley Road, with Bishop Boniface Adoyo, Bishop Oginde, and many others, to small family prayer groups with my Kenyan friends, to working with many farmers and schools across Kenya. From working with a friend of mine, Robert Mbugua, speaking across high schools in this country to encourage and inspire the youth, to supporting research institutions, including Kenya's Agricultural Research Institute, the African Economic Research Consortium, with Dr. Harris Muley, Professor Willis Oluokosura, Professor Chris Okelo Ogutu, and Dr. Gem Agwin's Kodak, to working with the corporate giants in this country, such as Chris Kiribi, who owned the International House, and Vimal Shah of Bidco Oil Refineries. From working to support girls' education with the Forum for Women Educationalists in Africa, with Dr. Eda Gachukia and Dr. Ruth Kagia, to working to improve the lives of farmers across this country, from Bungoma to Eldoret, Kisii, and across the Rift Valley. From working with the Kenyan Agricultural Research Institute, who are begging for food and who had no access to seeds or fertilizers, I wanted to see a national program. PS of Agriculture, Dr. Romano Kiome, and the then Minister of Agriculture, Kipruto Arap Kuruan, became allies then and agreed. But it was not a popular move. Several donors were unhappy with me at the time for trying to push for subsidies for farmers in Kenya, including my own office at the time, the Rockefeller Foundation. I was even told that if I did not back off, I could lose my job. So I said, if trying to help the poor is a reason to lose a job, I cannot think of a better way, a more honorable way to lose a job: fighting for the poor. I recall going to one of the meetings of donors at the time to push for this. And as soon as I raised the issue, the chair of the session simply said, "Next agenda item, please." I retorted that if I had been the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Kenya, I would have sent all of you back home, because you spend most time on the beaches and not even having a heart for the poor people of Kenya. When His Excellency William Ruto was then appointed as the Agricultural Minister, I asked for an urgent meeting with him. You need to know something about this man, the then Minister Ruto, now President Ruto of this country. He is a man of action. He is relentless, and he will push until he gets things done, but he does get it done. He did not wait to visit with me, for me to visit with him at the Kilimo House. He made his way to my own office and met me there at 7:30 in the morning. That was how collectively myself and him, we developed and rolled out what is called the Kilimo Plus program to provide subsidized farm inputs for over 2.5 million poor farmers in the country. We went even further, myself and the president, then Minister Ruto, when I was at Agra, developed and rolled out what is called the Kilimo Biashara program, which provided financial guarantees, facilities for banks across this country to reduce the risk of lending by commercial banks to Kenya. It worked to Kenyan farmers. It worked so well that it was supported. It supported many banks, such as Equity Bank, working with James Mwangi to rapidly expand their lending to the agricultural sector. From its humble beginning to becoming what it is today, for which I am very, very proud of. Mr. President, thank you for your tenacity at that time, because without your support and tenacity, this will not have happened. I recall my work with Kenyan colleagues as we developed at the time what was called the Kenyan Agricultural Commodity Exchange, with Adrian Mukibi, Albert Wesonga, to provide market price information for farmers in the country using mobile phones. I remember working with the mayor of Bungoma at the time to set up the commodity exchange in a place